and welcome to our 2025 graduation celebration. My name is Wenda. My name is Lillian. I'm a second-year medical student at the University of Ottawa.
And my name is Satya, and I'm a second-year law student in the Common Law Civil Law program at McGill University.
We are truly honored to serve as your MCs for today's graduation celebration, an opportunity to recognize the dedication and achievements of students across our community from high school to postgraduate studies. It is a blessing to return to this meaningful tradition of coming together to celebrate our exceptional graduates. Today, we are also proud to acknowledge graduates as far back as 2020 whose milestones could not be celebrated in person due to the pandemic.
As a quick overview of today's program, we'll begin with a welcome and opening remarks, followed by speeches by our distinguished guests. Then we'll move to dinner, followed by a slideshow and a presentation of certificates and special recognition. Finally, we'll close with a few words from our graduates and a group photo to mark the occasion. Please note that the programming will be held in English. I'm sorry.
We will now ask for everyone to stand and welcome our graduates as they enter the room. A warm round of applause for our postgraduates.
annoying enough to get them.
በሰላም ደግሞ ጠብቀህ የሚሰዳ ክብር ጤና እውቀት ሰጠቀን ስለመስጠት ስለተባረከና ቀጣዩ ጊዜ ካለፈው ጊዜ ይበዛልና ልጆች በቀጣዩ ሕይወታቸው አንተ መሪ፣ አንተ አስተዳዳሪ፣ አንተ ደጋፊ ሆነ ሕይወታቸው እንዲመራ ቅዱስ ፈቃድ ይርዳ። በደከሙበት ደግሞ ጌታ ወይ ፍሬ እንደምትጠረላቸው ቅዱስ ፈቃድ ይሆንልን። እዚህ ዙሪያ ደግሞ የልጆቻችን ደስታ ለመካፈል የተገኙትንም አንተ በበረከት ባረክልን። በየጊዜው በየሰዓቱ ተርፎ ከሚቀረው ደስታ፣ ሰላም፣ ረፍት፣ ጤና፣ መልካም ነገር እንዳታሳካ ቅዱስ ፈቃድ ይርዳ። ጌታ ሆይ ቅዱስ መጣችን ለምናለን አባታችን ሆይ በሰማያት የምትኖር ስምህ ይቀደስ፣ መንግሥትህ ትምጣ፣ ፈቃድህ በሰማይ እንደሆነች እንዲሁም በምድር ትሁን። ቅዱስ ፈቃድ ይርዳ። አቤቱ ወደ ፈተና አታግባን፣ መንግሥት ያንተ ናትና ኃይል፣ ክብር፣ ምስጋና ለዘላለሙ አሜን። ቅድስት ድንግል ማርያም ሆይ መልአኩ ክርስቶስ ሰላም እንልሻለን። በሐሳብሽ ድንግል ነሽ፣ በሥጋሽም ድንግል ነሽ። አሸናፊ እግዚአብሔር እናት ሆይ ከሴቶች ሁሉ ተለይተሽ አንቺ የተባረክሽ ነሽ። የማኅፀንሽ ፍሬ ብሩክ ነው። ጸጋን የተሞላሽ ቅድስት ሆይ ደስ ይበልሽ፣ እግዚአብሔር ካንቺ ጋር ነውና ከተወደደው ልጅሽ ከጌታችን ከመድኃኒታችን ከኢየሱስ ክርስቶስ ዘንድ ይቅርታና ምሕረት ለምኝልን ኃጢአታችንን ያስተሰርይልን ለዘላለሙ አሜን። ኦ እግዚእ ኢየሱስ ክርስቶስ ኃጢአት በክርስቶስ ያነሳል ስለ ኃጢአቴ ወደ ሁሉ ዝበር መስረት እግዚአብሔርና ፈጣሪ ባርክልን። ተመራቂዎች እንኳን ደስ አላችሁ፣ ከዚህ ያደረሳችሁ ፈጣሪ ሕይወታችሁን መርቶ ከዚህ ያደረሳችሁ አምላክ በቀጣዩም ደግሞ እርሱ መሪ ደጋፊ እንዲሆናችሁ ቅዱስ ፈቃዱ ይርዳን። እግዚአብሔር ይባርክልን።
Thank you. Just restart. So we will now be moving on to speeches, starting off with Dr. Wenda Gebiheyu, who will be providing valuable words of advice to our graduates. Dr. Wenda was born and raised in Ottawa. He graduated with high distinction in Honours Chemistry from Carleton University in 2020 and received the Canada Student Merit Award. He completed his medical degree and is now a first-year resident at Queen's University in Kingston. Please welcome Dr. Wenda.
ጤና ይስጥልን። እንኳን ደህና መጣችሁ። ለተመራቂዎች እና ቤተሰቦቻቸው እንኳን ደስ አላችሁ። እኔም ወንዱን እባላለሁ። ከዚህ ልሊን እንዳለች ከዚህ ነው የተወለድኩኝ እና ያደግኩት እና አይሰማም? ይቅርታ ሶሪ። አሁን ይሰማል? Okay. So congratulations to the graduates. Graduation is a very important event for many communities, of course, including ours. And I think the act of graduating represents a lot of different qualities and attributes that you've all exemplified with your accomplishment today. I think, there's many achievements you can talk about, talent, intellect, discipline, but I think the most salient for me I always loved reading about different periods in our times in our history, and I think when we talk about it as a community, we like to talk about the triumphant moments, those victorious moments, Adwa, or other periods that make us feel really empowered. Our sporting accomplishments, the runners, but I think I found an equal amount of importance and an equal amount of significance in the more challenging periods of our history, the darker chapters. When I think about periods like the fascist occupation or the Adal invasion. I always, even as a child, found a lot of inspiration in the resilience that Ethiopian people demonstrated in those time periods. Despite, as you know, unimaginable challenges and a lot of suffering, you have a history of people who refused to give up, who always insisted on surviving, continuing, having children, maintaining their faith, fighting to protect their way of life. And I always felt that I had a duty to carry on that spirit of perseverance and resilience. I think it's the same resilience that drove many Ethiopian people to walk from Ethiopia to Sudan and other places to seek a better life when things back home were challenging. And I think it's the same spirit of insisting to survive that drove a lot of young men and young women to join the Arbenyoch during the occupation of Ethiopia. And I think you all have demonstrated that insistence to persevere through any challenges, exams, applying for co-op positions, applying for scholarships. Even if you don't get the first one, continuing on is, I think, the most important quality you can carry on throughout all of your studies and your careers. So I think knowing your history is the first way that I personally knew to carry on and persevere through all challenges. And I think that's something I would recommend to anyone else as well. I think the second piece of advice is something that came a little later on. We're not the only group of people that face challenges. And as I pursued my studies, I met people from all around the world, Armenian people, Egyptian Coptic Orthodox people. These are people that have faced a lot of challenges as a community as well. And I think one thing that they showed me that they do to survive, especially in places like abroad in Canada where they are a minority, is they stick together. And I think you are all graduating together. I'm seeing you and meeting you. Some of you for the first time, some of you I've seen since you were children, and I'm very proud of. I think you have to know today that you have a whole community behind you that are rooting for you, that will do anything that they can in their power to help you get to where you need to go. And so I think sticking together, knowing that we have a duty to look out for each other is very important as well, to maintain not just individual resilience, but communal resilience. And it takes me back, when I was traveling in Ethiopia a few years ago, visiting my family, I remember seeing, people pushed into a bus, like cramped, so many people together. And I remember there was a woman, she was, of course, very, she was poor and begging for money. And I remember in the car, in the passenger seat of my car, I would see on the street a young guy, even though he's cramped on the bus, he reaches into his pocket and sticks his hand out of the window to give her some of whatever he had. And I was so touched by that moment. I thought, I hope we can carry that spirit of looking out for each other and making sure that we have each other's backs, not just on fun days like this, but on days when we need a hand. So I think that's the second thing, is to stick together. And the third thing that I would say is to put God first. I think we can sometimes see the church as like a community center because it's the place where we see each other the most. But I think it's important to remember why we all gather here, the faith and the Word of God. And it's something that I find myself, instead of steering away as I went into university, I leaned on it more. Every challenge, I prayed. And I think there's nothing you can accomplish without getting God's permission first. So I would strongly advise keeping your faith. Even in school, I know it's not common to be a faithful Christian, especially in high academics, in medicine or law and other things. But even when it's unpopular or uncommon, I think it's important to hold on to. So those are the three things that I would advise from my experience to maintain resilience. And that's almost it. I just had one more thing to mention about resilience, and that I was a young child when I got a lesson in the importance of persevering and maintaining resilience. And that's from my mom, Abavich Gabramuddin. Yes. አበበች እናቴ ናት። ብቻዋን ነው ያሳደገችኝ። ሁለት ስራ እየሰራች ብዙ ችግር እያሳለፈች እንደማይታይም ግን አበበች ከልጅነቴ ጀምሬ ሁሉም የተሸከምሽ ክብደት እንደ ዕዳ ነው ያየሁት እና ሁሉ ችግር ሲመጣብኝ ሁሉ ጊዜ ዕዳ አለኝ ከአበበች ጋር ማለፍ አለብኝ አስቤ ብዬ ነው ያለፍኩት እና ግን ትምህርት ጨርሼ I realized ይሄ ያለኝ ዕዳ በገንዘብ በወሬ መክፈል አይቻልም። I will always owe you. በጣም ነው ማመሰግንሽ፣ በጣም ነው መወድሽ። Thank you. So with that, I will leave the rest of the event to the other speakers. Thank you so much. Congratulations and Kwanda Salachu.
I hope to hear about the many successes for you all going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And a lot of importance in highlighting our community and our resilience so we stick together and also move on.
Our next speaker is Diakon Emmanuel, who will be speaking on behalf of this year's graduates. Diakon Eman just completed his honors degree in civil engineering, graduating with a full merit-based scholarship. He finished among the top of his class and was recognized for his academic excellence and leadership throughout the program. Please give a warm welcome to Diakon Eman.
Good evening, everyone. It's truly a blessing to have everyone here tonight, awake, dressed, and at least try their best to be on time. We've all been here through the rush, the last minute scrambling, and a few are relieving now moments. But at least we're here all together as a family, one together, and we can at least enjoy the moment. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Diakon Eman, and I've been at this beautiful church that you guys know as St. Teklehaimanot Church. I've been serving as a diakon since 2015, and I know it's been a while, and thanks be to God, I'm still going strong. Now I know some of you guys are probably thinking like, why is this guy up here wearing a nice suit, looking sharp, and why is he talking in the crowd? And don't worry, I'm not here to give you guys a TED Talk. I'm just trying to, tell you guys about my journey, about my life, and just a little bit of myself, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. For those who know me well, I'm very straight to the point, and I don't like to go around the picture and not explain it in detail. I'm going to give you guys awesome advice tonight, yes, but I'm not going to fake it, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to give you guys real talk. So, here's the part that we don't always like to hear. If you're not putting in the work, if you're not praying, not showing up to church, not growing by letting go of the bad habits in your life, that will not show any change, and you will not change. I know some of you guys hear these speeches, and you guys go back home, you guys tell your mom, and all that, and don't really change. And I'm not here to judge anyone, because everyone's different, but I'm just here to remind you, change doesn't happen by hearing something inspiring. It happens when you actually do something different. You can't expect change if you're not making room for God to work on you. So ask yourself this: am I really changing and allowing God space to move in my life, or am I holding onto what He's calling onto me to let go of? Because when you see God show up, start asking those hard questions, then things start to make sense and they all shift the line in your life. All I'm saying is it takes effort. And it doesn't all just come in one day. It takes a time and process for it to come. And I'm telling you guys this because I love you guys all. And I want to see you guys all graduate, win, and make your parents proud, like hopefully I made mine proud. But the truth is, you have to want it as much as I do. And these two quotes that I go by every day, first one being, you can't expect change if you're not willing to change. A lot of people want things to be different. They want better grades, be closer to God, have more peace, more success, but they don't usually want to change. And anything that they do in their life, they don't really change it. And that's not how you're going to get change in your life. If you want to grow spiritually, you can't keep living in sin. I'm going to say that one more time. If you want to grow spiritually, you can't be living in sin. You can't pray for a strong relationship with God with ignoring Him all week, not going to church, because you have to tell yourself, am I really doing this for myself or for my parents? Real change takes action. Another quote that changed my perspective is, praying for change means nothing if you're not willing to be part of that change. Prayer is powerful, but faith without action is empty. You can't just ask God to fix everything while you're sitting back doing nothing. You've got to move too. God is there to help you, but you have to also be there to assist Him too. If you're not praying to be a better person, to overcome a struggle, to serve more, for you to want things to move, start showing up, start serving, maybe even be a diakon, start changing, prayer isn't a shortcut. It all starts with a single step, willingness to begin. First and foremost, I want to thank God, and it's really hard for me to say this. Like, I was going to say it in Amharic, but I decided to say it in English because it's much easier for me. But I want to thank God, the one who made all this possible. Not just a degree, not just the long nights of studying, but the entire journey. The growth, the lessons that no textbook could teach. Without Him, without God, I am truly nothing.
Carried me, because without the prayer, without Him, I truly wouldn't have made it. You see, this degree isn't something I earned. It's something God gave me. A blessing, a responsibility, and through all that, He brought it for me. He brought it to me. There are times when the pressure felt too much, where I told myself, am I able to really do this? But God didn't leave me. He was there for me. He sent people like mentors, my family, my friends to lift me up. And He gave me peace when I was anxious and tired, and faith when I couldn't see the way forward. And speaking of the people He placed in my life, I want to thank my mom and dad, Konjit and Dejane, from the bottom of my heart. I just want to say, you've been my rock, you've been my foundation, and honestly, they prayed for me more than anything that I've studied in university. They gave me everything that I needed, and everything that I didn't know I needed. Every pair of shoes, every club, every joint that I joined, every little opportunity I wish I never thought that I needed, they always gave me. And they gave me the biggest thing, which is life. My mom, she worked so much, staying home with us, giving up hours of work because she didn't want strangers to not feed us, to not take care of us. So she went on leave just to take care of me and my sisters and everybody in my family, including my father. And my dad, he worked very long hours, putting his own effort aside for us so that we could live lavishly and happy. From waking me up to go to church, to helping me with school, to reminding me gently or so not gently When I was being stubborn, they were always there for me. So I want to say thank you so much, Mom and Dad, for not selling me to the neighbors and for taking care of me and being patient with me when I was so stubborn. And to all of you who have supported me, those who have prayed for me, Abba Tachin, and everyone, those who offer advice, encouragement, or motivation, thank you. I love you all, and I appreciate your words more than I can express everything. I want to say one more thing to my parents. I'll never be able to repay you guys in full, but the very least I can say is I love you guys both to death. And now I know I mentioned both my parents, Mom and Dad. I know my sister is sitting there what about me? Are you not gonna say something about me? But I want to say I love you too. And she taught me one of the biggest virtue in my life, which was patience. Mostly by testing mine every day. But honestly, I love you guys all. But speaking about patience, I want to tell you guys about something that really taught me and why that word means a lot to me, and that's my path as a diakon. Like I said earlier, I've been serving since 2015, and I can honestly say serving God has been the best decision of my life. Way better than choosing engineering, as engineering came with a lifetime supply of stress and no sleep. Seriously, civil engineering gave me a degree and deep trust issues. From group projects, I'd be up at 2 a.m. wondering, did they even start doing their part? And spoiler alert, they didn't do their part. That's why I couldn't sleep. When the stress hits, the exams, the group disasters, and what brought me peace was doing Kadase and listening to Mezmur, I felt like I was back home. That helped me find chaos when my partners didn't do their work. And even through all that, while I'm doing my assignments and my work and everything, keep in mind it's 2 a.m. I'd be singing in my head with my headphones, and it was 2 a.m. and my parents, they're all sleeping, and my mom would come to the door and she'd be like, "Inde? ምንድነው አሁን እዚህ ተነስተህ የምትቀመጠው? እንዴ እኛ እኮ መትያት እንፈልጋለን። አንተ ካልተኛ እኛ መትያት እንፈልጋለን." And she'd be like, ማታ እኮ ነው እኛ እንዳንተ ቁጭ ብለን አለ የምናድረው እኛ መትያት እንፈልጋለን. And she would be like, take care of yourself. But yeah, it's just hectic. But through all that, one thing stayed constant. Everything I do, I try to keep God and the church on the center of my peace, because the church is my peace. So whether I'm studying, serving, or just surviving another group project, my faith is what holds it all together. It's not separate from my life, it is my life. Serving Teklehaimanot Church has been a huge blessing. I've watched kids grow, I've learned how to chant Zema, Kadase, and Wenda, and most importantly, I've learned how to survive 4 hours of service without falling asleep, barely. But here's the real lesson. While doing Kadase, I've stumbled, I've made mistakes, and we're all human, just like anyone else. And that's the point. This experience taught me as a diakon that faith isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, willing to learn, growing, and pushing through even when it's hard. That's how I approach every part of my life. Whether it's through school, work, relationships, I don't expect perfection, but I commit to the progress. If you take anything away from this, let it be this. Your struggles don't define you. Your willingness to keep trying does. And with that, God helps you through everything to forward your triumph. Learn from it, grow from it, and maybe laugh a little too. Because growth doesn't just happen in church. It happens in every part of your life. And one area where I definitely had my growth was in school. Thanks be to God and His grace, I graduated civil engineering, and that's truly thanks to God, and it's not through me. Was it easy? No. There were long nights, hard classes, and more math than I can ever want to see ever again. But I took it one day at a time, kept growing, and kept serving my church through it all. People say engineering is hard. It's really not. Because if you served a Good Friday service with all the sick deaths and on an empty stomach, you can survive anything. Engineering taught me formulas and structure, but serving as a diakon taught me humility, patience, and how to stand for 4 hours without passing out. Both taught me a lot, but one gave me purpose. Looking back now, my parents were right to not let me go to University of Toronto. I see they were right because their decision to keep me rooted in my faith and telling me that they're going to miss me to not let me go was the right decision. Because God had a better plan for me all along. One that kept me close to Him and to this church community that shaped who I am today. Now, on a serious note, my faith is the foundation of who I am. It's not something I turn on just for Sundays. I have it on every day. There were Saturday nights where I would stay up all night long studying for an exam that was on Monday, but I still showed up to church on Sunday not because I had to, but because I made a promise to myself, no excuses, always try your best, especially when it comes to God. To everyone here, you don't have to be perfect to be holy. You just have to be willing to try, willing to learn, willing to grow, willing to show up, and willing to change. Being willing means opening your heart and accepting God into your life, letting Him guide you in every step of the way. So let me share how that willingness made a difference for me and in my life. It showed me who I am when things get hard. And when God is through it all, it taught me discipline, resilience, and how to lean on the grace when I was short. It reminded me that success is not measured by titles or income, but how closely I walk with God through every season. But how does that actually help me in my day-to-day life? Well, it keeps me grounded when the world tries to define my worth by my resume or by my worth. I remember my worth is sealed by the cross. When stress is creeping up into me, I go back to prayer, to silence, to scripture. I read the Bible, and that's where I reset and I go again for the next day. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. We show that faith is not a weekend thing, it's a life thing. We live it out authentically and honestly. We share how God carried us. We don't act like we're perfect. Instead, we share how God's mercy has made a difference in our lives. And we invite others to join us, not for the church services, but to be part of a community full of love and care to show meaning. Because when faith shows up in real life, whether it's in your studies, our work, our challenges, you begin to see this true power. You'll want that for yourself too. That's why my cores are very simple and clear. Faith, integrity, and service. Faith is the foundation. It guides my decisions and gives me strength in difficult times, and reminds me of my purpose beyond the worldly success. Integrity keeps me honest with myself and not comparing with everybody else. I just do what I can and do what I can best, ensuring I live with transparency and honor. Service reminds me that my gifts as a diakon are not just for me, they're meant to bless others and make the world different. These values aren't just words, they're how I survive to live every day, trusting God to lead me through every step. I want everything that I do to reflect the light of Christ, because as an offering, my success and my testimony and my life as a witness. And a word I want to say to the graduates of 2025 and the graduates of high school: church isn't something you just say just to make your parents happy. It's about building a relationship with God for yourself. Because when life gets hard, and trust me it will, it's your own faith that will carry you, not someone else's faith. To anyone thinking of becoming a diakon, just do it. Because I was scared too. I made mistakes, as you already know, but this church community, they're very supporting and they will not judge you. Don't be afraid to ask questions, even the ones that you think are dumb questions. There's no such thing as dumb questions when you're trying to grow. And parents, I see you. You guys are trying your best, but your consistency matters more than you realize. Your kids are watching, and even if you don't think they are. My mom never accepted when I told her every morning when I was a kid, I would be like, "Mom, I'm tired. Like, I don't want to go to church. I'm tired." And she'd be like, "Ante, ለምን አትሄደው ማናንተ ከሌሎቹ ጋር መሄድ አለብህ, and she would drag me out of my bed and she would take me. And from that I learned my lesson, and because of her hard work, my mom and my dad, now I'm here serving as a diakon, and because of their dedication today, I don't just show up because I have to, I show up because I want to serve God. That's the power of faith passed down by my parents. And that's the kind of faith I hope each of us carry forward every day. So class of 2025, and to everyone still in their journey, remember, your degree is a tool, but your faith is a foundation. Keep them both sharp. Let God lead. Let Him use you for greater things in life. And when you forget it, and when you make it, because I know you guys all will, don't forget Him. And glory be to God, because without God, we're nothing. If there's one thing I hope each of you takes away from my words today, it's this. School isn't always easy. You will face tough exams, confusing homework, and maybe even some why am I here moments when you're in university. But here's the thing, every challenge you conquer is a step forward, so don't give up. When it's hard, get curious, get creative, and keep pushing. Never give up. And if all else fails, remember, even the smartest people once failed a test or two. So laugh at it, struggle, learn from it, and keep going and keep pushing. Let God lead your path. Trust Him with your steps, because He promises to never leave you and forsake you. And let me share this one important verse that I was reading today from the Bible. And I'll say it in Amharic, and I'll say it in English as well too. So in መጽሐፈ ምሳሌ ምዕራፍ 3 ከቁጥር 5 እስከ 6 የሚለው በፍጹም ልብህ በእግዚአብሔር ታመን በራስህም ማስተዋል አትደገፍ. I'm going to say that one more time. በፍጹም ልብህ በእግዚአብሔር ታመን በራስህም ማስተዋል አትደገፍ. በመንገድህ ሁሉ እርሱን እወቅ እርሱም ጎዳህን ያቀናልሃል. So to translate that in English, that basically is Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5 to 6, which basically says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not only on your own understanding but his ways. Submit to Him and He will guide you in every step of the way, even when it seems unclear. So no matter how high you climb, never forget who brought you up there. Remember the strength, the guidance, and the grace that carried you through all your challenges, your stress, and all your pain. My core belief is that without God, I am nothing. And that's true, I am nothing. Without achievement, without title, without success, life is meaningless without Him in the center of my life. Stay humble, stay grateful, and stay connected to God. Keep praying, keep showing up to church, and seeking Him. Because when you don't put God first, every step will have a purpose, and every success becomes a testimony. It's not just about what you achieve, but who you become when you walk with Him, through prayer, through salot, through everything. And going through church as well too. That's where the true success is found. Thank you all for listening. Thank you to everyone who's part of my journey, who's giving me advice, motivation, everything, and encouragement, more than I can say. It's been an honor to share this moment with you guys all. May God bless you all. And yes, you can clap now. My speech is done.
Thank you, Diakon Ahmad. The words of growing and as well as a reminder to keep faith centered in our lives. I hope you wear your iron ring with pride and for all of us.
Okay, so our next speaker is Diakon Brook for a speech representing our church youth. Diakon Brook is an outstanding student and a role model for youth. He became a deacon at 12 years old and has since served at the altar, assisted during services, and taught younger children prayers, Bible stories, and church traditions. At school, he has performed in several plays, including Scrooge and A Christmas Carol, as well as Chronicles of Narnia and The Tempest. He was recently accepted into the IB program and placed second in the God's Math contest held by the University of Waterloo. Please join us in welcoming Diakon.
በስመ አብ ወወልድ ወመንፈስ ቅዱስ አሐዱ አምላክ አሜን. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. Au nom du Père, le Fils, le Saint-Esprit, un Dieu, Amen. Good evening to the respected priests and deacons, beloved friends and family members, and most importantly, the graduating class of 2025. Let me begin with saying this. Congratulations. You've done something remarkable. Whether you're finishing high school, college, or university, or going into your job, you survived the exams, the all-nighters, where coffee and energy drinks were seeping through your bloodstreams, the essay you didn't know was due, and the group project where one person did all the work, most likely you. My name is Brooke, for those who don't know who I am. I have been a deacon for around 2 years, and I was given the honor today of standing in front of you all and saying something very important. God was with you through it all. Graduation is more than a ceremony. It's a moment that honors your courage. When you push through the late nights, hard classes, self-doubts, and moments when you could have quit but didn't. It's about your growth, not just in knowledge but in strength. You've had to go through the horrible classes, hard exams, having to miss fun stuff so that you could study, and probably saying, I'm done at least 10 times a week, and just to come back the next day to have a 3,000 word essay due, but you did it all. Let's be real. Some of us pray the hardest during finals week. But the truth is, even when you were too tired to pray, God was with you, holding you up. Psalm 46:1 reminds us, አምላካችን መጠጊያችንና ኃይላችን ነው, ባገኘን በታላቅ መከራችን ረዳታችን ነው. Again, አምላካችን መጠጊያችንና ኃይላችን ነው, ባገኘን በታላቅ መከራችን ረዳታችን ነው. መዝሙረ ዳዊት ምዕራፍ 46 ከቁጥር 1. In English that is, God is our refuge and strength, and a very present help in trouble. And Isaiah 41:10 says, እኔ ካንተ ጋር ነኝና አትፍራ፣ እኔ አምላክህ ነኝና አትደንግጥ፣ አበረታታሃለሁና እረዳህማለሁ፣ በጽድቄም ቀኝ ደግፌ እይዝሃለሁ. In English that is, fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. So yes, your hard work brought you here, but it was also the quiet strength of God next to you in every day. Let me say this clearly. You didn't just finish school. You're inspiring the next generation of the kids. There are younger kids in this room, your siblings, cousins, friends watching you today. They saw you overcome. They saw you walk in dressed with pride and joy. And even if they're not saying it out loud, they're thinking, one day I want to be like them. And that's something to feel proud of. Now, let's talk about Joseph. His story, twist after twist. He was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown back into prison. But through it all, he stayed faithful to God. And in the end, God raised him up to lead an entire nation. The lesson? Even in the lowest points of your life, he may be preparing you for your highest purpose. So, if in your next chapter you feel a little uncertain, God already sees the full story. And if he's brought you this far, he isn't stopping you now. Though I'm 14, I've learned a lot from watching people just like you. So, here's some advice from a little brother, for example. First, my first piece of advice is to always keep God first. Talking to him in the morning, thanking him when things go right, or even when you need somebody to lean on. If God has brought you this far, he isn't stopping you now. The second is to stay grounded in your identity. You are Orthodox, you are Ethiopian, you are part of something ancient and holy, and beautiful. Never let the world make you forget that. Number 3, choose character over popularity. It's easy to impress people, but it takes strength to do what's right, even when nobody's watching. Be known for your integrity. Don't forget to laugh. Life is tough, that's true, but it's also full of joy. Laugh with your friends, smile with your family, dance at weddings. Be present. Keep growing. Graduation is not a finish line. It's only a start of a new chapter. You don't have to figure it all out by now. Just stay curious, humble, and open to learning. Surround yourself with people who keep you sharp. If your crew doesn't challenge you or support you or pray with you, it might be time for some new friends. Proverbs 27:17 says, "As iron sharpens iron, so does one person sharpen another." 7. Protect your peace. You don't have to say yes to everything. Rest is holy. Your mental health matters. Don't rush yourself. Just because somebody else got a job or a degree or 1,000 friends doesn't mean you're behind. God's timing is different for each and every one of us. So never think that you're falling behind, and always is perfect. Be the one who encourages others. One kind word can change somebody's day, or sometimes, in rare cases, their life. Lift people. Speak life. Don't wait for other people to compliment you first. This world has enough criticism. Be the opposite. And finally, remember who you represent. Wherever you go, at school, at work, online, remember, you're not just you. You're carrying your family, your church, and your culture, and your faith. And now, to the younger kids in the room, even though I'm giving the speech, I'm still 14. I'm learning every day, and sometimes I mess up, just like you. And you may be wondering, will I really graduate one day? Can God use someone like me? Am I ready for what's next in life? I don't have all the answers, but I can say this. God can use anyone who tries to follow him, no matter how young or how unsure. So, starting now, ask questions. Keep trying even when it's hard. Stay close to your faith and your identity. Watch those who inspire you and learn from them, like those who are here today. I never thought I'd be standing here today, and to be honest, I'm still figuring out my own path. But if God can help me grow, he can help you grow too. We're all learning from each other, and your journey is just beginning. Now, to the parents, siblings, and friends and mentors who supported these graduates, thank you.
To the priests and to the graduates, what you've achieved is incredible. Not only have you worked so hard and succeeded, but you have also become strong role models for others, inspiring those who look up to you in faith, character, and perseverance. What you've become is greater than what you've achieved. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope for a future." Whatever comes next, more school, work, or uncertainty, don't walk it alone. Walk it with God. Because he is the one who's brought you this far, and he's not finished with you yet. And I would just like to say this on a finishing note. Congratulations. Be bold, stay faithful, and go forward with praise. Thank you.
Thank you, Diakon Group, for that amazing speech representing our lovely church youth. We see you all working so hard. We're so excited to celebrate your graduations one day.
We will now be welcoming President Konji Kevin for a choir member and proud mother of our graduate, Teklehaimanot, to sing a mezmor.
Please give us a round of applause.
Gracias.
ያድርግላቸው። እግዚአብሔር የተመሰገነ ይሁን። ይሄ የልጆቻችሁን ምርቃት ለማክበር የተገኛችሁ ታላቅ እግዚአብሔር የተመሰገነ እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልኝ።
It is now time for dinner made by our lovely volunteers. We will now invite Father Apatachin to bless our meal. Graduates, if you can rise and accompany Apatachin for this prayer by the food. If we can have everyone's attention, please. Hello, can everyone hear me? Yeah. Okay, thank you Wesdo Kunji for the beautiful mezmor. It's now time for dinner made by our lovely volunteers. We will now invite Father Apatachin to bless our meal. Graduates, if you don't mind rising and accompanying Apatachin for this prayer by the food. So high school graduates and the graduates on stage. Please stand. Yes? Yeah.
በክንፉ ከልሎ በቤቱ አሳድጎኛል። አያምርብኝ ብዘነጋው ታሪክን ሚካኤል ያስጌጠልኝ ሕይወቴን። አረሳብኝ እሱ አትርሳብኝ ያልኩትን ለካ ሰምቶ ይኖራል የልጅነት ጸሎቴን። ሚካኤል ያን ሁሉ ዘመን አሳለፈኝ። ሚካኤል ፍሬ ጠብቆ ያልቆረጠኝ። ሚካኤል የከፍታዬ መሰላል። ሚካኤል መነሻዬ ሆነሃል። ጠብቆ ሳድጎ ከልጅነቴ አባት የሆነኝ ሚካኤል አባቴ። ይለይብኛል ሚካኤል ይለይብኛል። በክንፉ ከልሎ በቤቱ አሳድጎኛል። ይለይብኛል ሚካኤል ይለይብኛል። በክንፉ ከልሎ በቤቱ እንዳይከፋኝ እንዳልደፋ አንገቴን እንዳላለቅስ እንዳላፈስ እንባዬን እንዳይርቀኝ ደስታ በመንፈሴም እንዳልዝል ካጠገቤ አይርቅም ያሳደገኝ ሚካኤል ሚካኤል ቀኔን ቀናዬን ሳልጠራ ሚካኤል ና ድረስልኝ ሳልል ሚካኤል እንዳስጀመርከኝ ጅማሬን ሚካኤል አሳምሮ ፍጻሜን ጠብቆ አሳድጎ ከልጅነቴ አባት የሆነኝ ሚካኤል አባቴ ይለይብኛል ሚካኤል ይለይብኝ በክንፉ ከልሎ በቤቱ አሳድጎኛል ይለይብኛል ሚካኤል ይለይብኛል በክንፉ ከልሎ በቤቱ አሳድጎኛል ውድቅ አረገ እንዳይርቀኝ ደስታ በመንፈሴም እንዳልዝል ካጠገቤ አይርቅም ያሳደገኝ ሚካኤል ሚካኤል ቀኔን ቀናዬን ሳልጠራ ሚካኤል ና ድረስልኝ ሳልል ሚካኤል እንዳስጀመርከኝ ጅማሬን ሚካኤል አሳምሮ ፍጻሜን ጠብቆ አሳድጎ ከልጅነቴ አባት የሆነኝ ሚካኤል አባቴ ይለይብኛል ሚካኤል ይለይብኛል በክንፉ ከልሎ በቤቱ አሳድጎኛል
ይለይብኛል ሚካኤል ይለይብኛል በክንፉ ሸፍኖ በቤቱ አሳድጎኛል ጠብቆ አሳድጎን ከልጅነቴ አባት የሆነኝ ሚካኤል አባቴ ይለይብኛል ሚካኤል ይለይብኛል በክንፉ ሸፍኖ በቤቱ አሳድጎኛል ይለይብኛል ሚካኤል ይለይብኛል በክንፉ ሸፍኖ
አሳድጎኛል።
ይሄ በጣም ነው የማመሰግነው። ይሄ መዝሙር በጣም ነው አማንዬ የሚወደው። ያው ለሱም ነው ምስጋናው ለእግዚአብሔርና ለሚካኤል ነው። ግን ደስ እንዲለው ብዬ ነው ይሄን መዝሙር አስቸግሬ ፕሮግራም የጠበበው የዘመርኩት። እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልኝ። ለፕሮግራም መሪዎች በጣም አመሰግናለሁ። አማንዬ ይሄን ተደርግልኝ። እግዚአብሔር በቤቱ ያቆይ፣ መጨረሻውን ያሳምርልን።
Thank you so much for another beautiful Mazmor. We're going to be moving on with our speeches shortly, so we ask that everybody settle down.
And we hope you guys all enjoyed the dinner and our programming thus far. Thank you again to all our lovely volunteers. Our next speaker is Sion Tesfu Abebe. Born in Hawassa, Ethiopia, Sion's passion for science began early through Hawassa's University STEM Center. Can we have some quiet, please? A little silence. A little bit. Thank you. So our next speaker is Sion Tesfu Abebe. Born in Hawassa, Ethiopia, Sion's passion for science began early through Hawassa's University STEM Center. In 2017, she participated in the 1,000 Girls, 1,000 Futures program in New York, sparking her commitment to science, mentorship, and education for girls. In 2018, she moved to Canada alone, leaving behind medical school and her family. Despite language barriers, financial hardship, and immigration challenges, she stayed focused on her dream of becoming a scientist and future physician. In June 2025, she graduated with great distinction from Concordia University with a Bachelor's of Science honors in biology, earning several awards, including the Dean of Student Medal, Black Student Academic Excellence Award, and co-valedictorian honors. She also received the NSERC Undergraduate Student Research Award and the FRQNT Supplement and 2 Concordia University Student Research Awards. She has also presented her work at prestigious conferences. Sion is committed to service, mentorship, and empowering young girls in STEM both in Canada and Ethiopia. Please welcome Sion.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the beautiful introduction. I'm Sion from Montreal. She said everything about me. Just to give a brief introduction of me, yes, I'm from Ethiopia. I came here 7 years ago. Surprisingly, the first church I went to was St. Teklehaimanot Church. I remember the date. It was, I think, August 30th. It was a Saturday. I came here for St. Teklehaimanot annual feast. It was the first feast. It was the first church I came to. And I asked St. Teklehaimanot a lot of things to help me through my studies, to bring my families, because when I came here, I was all by myself, but I had God with me, and all the angels, and also our Mother St. Mary. So with that, with all the challenge I went through, I faced, I thank God for sustaining
in the midst of the uncertainty, I thank God for sustaining me, Xavier Meskin. It was a bit tough because I was in medical school, Hawaasa University Medical School. I was PC1 preclinical student back then, but I left everything and I moved to Canada. And unfortunately, I couldn't get a scholarship because they didn't offer scholarship for international students. So I was forced to stop school for almost 3 years. It was very difficult. I love school so much, but during that time, through the support of the community, my father, Memorit Barak, and my families, I was able to pass that time. And in 2022, I got back to school and I continued studying, doing research, which I love the most. And while I studied, God was blessing every single bit of my work, and even I don't know how, but I managed to graduate with great distinction, about 4.0. And I became the valedictorian. On top of that, I also received a medal for my outstanding contribution to the community and as well as my academic performance. But throughout this, it wasn't just me. So if you ask how I did it, I think it's better to say how did I let God work on me, because He's the one who did everything. So I just let Him do the work, but at the same time, I did not just sit down or wait for Him to come in person and help me out. I prayed. I didn't miss Sundays. I used to go to church. That is my meditation place, my safe place where I used to cry, ask God for everything. And every year, I think I only missed Teklehaimanot annual feast in August, maybe during COVID in 2020. But every year when I come, I ask Teklehaimanot to do me something. A year after I came here, my mother joined me. A year after that was COVID, I think. A year after that, I think I became a permanent resident. And a year after that, my sisters joined me here in Canada. And finally, thank God, today I'm here, I'm back, finishing my studies. So I also thank Him. So every year I came and asked Him something, and Saint Teklehaimanot, He did listen to my prayers. He answered my prayers, and every year when I came, I praised Him non-stop. That's my story. So just for the kids, the students here, and for the families, there's a few things I want to say. More than anything, መጀመሪያ እግዚአብሔርን መፍራት ነው። Right? ምሳሌ ቁጥር 1 እስከ 7 ላይ ያለ ጥቅስ ነው። This thing, as I told you, I didn't do it by myself. I let God do the thing. So, but during that time, I did not stop praying. And also, while I was facing all the challenges, I did not give up. I had hope because God, He will never leave us. And He said, test me and you will see, right? So I was like, okay, I'm not going to let you go. I'm not going to let go until you bless me and you can see my blessings. So I received a lot of blessings by not letting go. And always remember 3 things. I don't know if you have watched my interview in Shankarinfo YouTube channel, but I said one thing. Always remember 3 things when you are doing something or when you are studying, which are your 3 mothers you have. Your mother who gave birth to you, which includes your father too, your country, and your church. These are the 3 mothers you have. Always remember those 3 things. Because first thing, our parents have made a lot of sacrifices. Well, for me, I was the first one to come, but even my mom, after she came here, she made a lot of sacrifices so that I can be here today. And your parents too. For those of you who are born here, your parents made a lot of sacrifices. They left behind a lot of things back in Ethiopia. They haven't seen their parents, their family members for many years, and you know what kind of job they work. So we need to remember their sacrifices, and every time you feel like, oh, it's not gonna work out, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, just remember your parents. And the other thing is your country. Well, Canada is also your country, but also remember Ethiopia. Do you know that the name Ethiopia was mentioned in the Bible, I think it's 40 times if I'm not mistaken? No other country was mentioned like that. So please remember your country. We should always remember that and always remember your people. And the third one is our church, ቅድስት ቤተክርስቲያን. Without our church, we are nothing, right? So always remember ቅድስት ቤተክርስቲያን. And I don't know if you guys remember, but like I think it was 2 years ago, his Archbishop Abuna Dimetros was here and said, if you have seen the Egyptian, the Coptic Orthodox Church, everyone is an engineer, everyone is a doctor, and they do their Asrat Bakurat, and they support their church a lot. Because they go to school, they study really hard, they work hard, and they are very successful. But in our church, it's very challenging to find that kind of person, right? But we need to study really hard so that tomorrow we will be there for our church too. And some last words, listen to your parents. They know best for us, okay? Please, listen to your parents. I always listen to my mom, and her words, her wisdoms are those things which help me be here today. And also, don't be scared to fail. You will not believe me if I told you that I failed my physics final exam in 2022. But I'm still a valedictorian. I did manage to be a valedictorian while failing my physics final exam. It is okay to fail. And even then, when you fail, don't forget to say እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን. Because failing is a redirection. You are just rerouting to something else, okay? Always remember that with everything you do, even if it's like something good or bad, always remember to thank God, to praise Him, and also pray for everything. I remember before I started the semesters, I used to go to Mamhir, my spiritual father, you know them. I used to go to them and I asked them to do a prayers for me every time I started a new semester. And also I used to take Sail, I don't know, with me whenever I went to take an exam. I used to hide it somewhere, but like, yeah, it did help me a lot. So always remember to put God first. Ask the saints, they are gonna help you a lot. And also, phone, a problem, right? Phone is a very big problem we have nowadays. For the past 4 years while I was doing my undergrad, I didn't have any social media. Well, I had Viber, that is for the church group, and Telegram to communicate with my families back in Ethiopia, but I didn't have anything. I deleted everything. So, while I let God do His job, I was also doing what I needed to do on my side, which included staying away from the social media. It's not good for you. At the end of the day, you can use it for something good, but like, please don't waste your time on social medias. And for the fathers, the parents, please do not compare your kids with anyone. Yes, I succeeded with the help of God, but like, don't say, she did it, so you have to be like Zion. Do not say that. Everyone has a different story. Every kid has a special, unique talent. Let them explore, let them be whatever they want to be, but support them. Whether it's school or something else, support them. እንደገና ደግሞ I'm going to say it in Amharic. ኢንተርቪውን አይታችኋል አይደለ ወላጆች? እናቴንም አይታችኋት ይሆናል። በመካከላችን የለችም፣ ድንገት ሌላ ኢቨንት ስላለ እዛ ሆና ነው። ግን እናቴ ስታሳድገኝ ከቤተ ክርስቲያን አላቀችኝምና ከ10 ዓመቴ ጀምሮ ገዳም ይዛኝ ትሄድ ነበር ኢትዮጵያ ማለት ነው። እና የቤተ ክርስቲያንን ፍቅር ነው ያስቀደመችው፣ ትምህርትን ሳይሆን እግዚአብሔርን መፍራትን ነው ያስቀደመችው። እና አንድ ነገር ኖቲስ ያደረኩት እዚህ ስመጣ አክቲቪቲ ሶከር አላቸው፣ ሚውዚክ አላቸው፣ ይሄ አላቸው። ግን የሚጀምረው ቅድም እንዳልኳችሁ የጥበብ ሁሉ መጀመሪያ እግዚአብሔርን መፍራት ነው። እግዚአብሔርን ከያዙኝ ልጆች ነገ ላይ ህሊናቸው የእግዚአብሔር ቃል ስላለ ውስጣቸው ያንን የሚመራቸው እንጂ እናንተ መምራት አይጠበቅባችሁም። እግዚአብሔርን የሚፈራ ልጅ ሀገሩን፣ ቅዱስ ቤተክርስቲያኑን፣ ወላጆቹን እያሰበ ነው የሚማረውና ሁሌም ቢሆን ወደ እዛ ፑሽ አድርጓቸው። ሌላ ደግሞ አሁን እኔ ጽዮን ተሱ ቫሌዲክቶሪያን ነበርኩ፣ ሜዳሊያ አግኝቻለሁኝ፣ 20 አቺቨር ነበርኩ። ግን ይሄ ማለት እኔን ከነሱ ጋር ኮምፔር እንዳታደርጉ፣ እንዴት እናንተ ያቅታችኋል ምናምን እንዳትሏቸው፣ የራሳቸውን ሰክሰስ ያመጣሉ። I believe in them. just as a motivation አሳያቸው እንጂ እኔንም ይጠሉኛል አደራችሁን ኮምፔር እንዳታደርጓቸው። ግን pray for them. Whenever they need help and support, just be there for them. Don't compare them. Because I would like to thank my mom, who's also a single mom. She's not here today. She has sacrificed a lot. If I start talking about her, I'm gonna cry, so I'm not gonna say it. But I have my sister here today. My younger sibling. Thank you so much. I love you so much. And my fathers. My church fathers, እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልኝ ጸሎታችሁ ነው እዚያ ቆመኝ። ከምንም በላይ ደግሞ ንሳ አባቴ መምህር ይትባረክ ብየዋለሁም 2 weeks ago የሳቸው ጸሎት የሳቸው ከጎኔ መሆን ነው እዚያ ደረሰኝና and kids please be in contact, be close to your spiritual fathers. They are not just your spiritual fathers, they can be your friends, your father, your everything, your brother and everything. They give you wisdom, well, in spiritual life and also outside of that, so please stay in touch with them. እና አባቶቼ ጸሎታችሁ ነው እዚያ ቆመኝ። እናንተ ምእመናን ሁሌ እንደ ልጃችሁ አይታችሁኝ ፍቅር ሳትነሱኝ እዚህ ስላደረሳችሁኝ በጸሎታችሁ ያሰባችሁኝ ሁሉ እግዚአብሔር ያስባችሁ። እኛ ቤት የገባው ደስታ በሁላችሁም ቤት
Education and faith is truly admirable. To restart and come here and do everything and achieve so much is truly amazing.
We would like to now welcome Abatachin Magabi Mr. Yitvarek Adonai, Montreal head priest and spiritual father of Sion, to the stage for a spiritual message. Thank you.
ጨረሳችሁ? የምታወሩ ሰዎች ጨረሳችሁ? በስመ አብ ወወልድ ወመንፈስ ቅዱስ አሐዱ አምላክ አሜን። የተከበሩ አባታችን ክቡር መልአከ ገነት መምህር ሰናይ አድማሱ በኢትዮጵያ ኦርቶዶክስ ተዋሕዶ ቤተክርስቲያን የምስራቅ ካናዳ ሀገረ ስብከት የሕዝብ ግንኙነት መምሪያ ኃላፊና የደብረ ቅዱሳን ተክለሃይማኖት ዋና አስተዳዳሪ፣ የሁላችንም አባት፣ የተከበራችሁ ተመራቂዎች፣ ክቡራንና ክቡራት አባቶች፣ እናቶች፣ ወላጆች፣ እንግዶች በልዑል እግዚአብሔር ስም እንደምን ዋላችሁ? እንደምን ቆያችሁ? ሁሉን ያዘጋጀ አምላክ ወላጆች ወጣችሁ ወርዳችሁ ጊዜያችሁን፣ ገንዘባችሁን፣ አእምሮአችሁን አስተዋጽኦ አድርጋችሁ የልጆቻችሁን ፍሬ ለማየት እንኳን አበቃችሁ። እንኳን ደስ አላችሁ ማለት እፈልጋለሁ። ወላጆች እንኳን ደስ አላችሁ። በሁለተኛ ደረጃ ቅድስት ቤተክርስቲያናችን ልጆቿን ዛሬ በእውቀት አስመርቃ በቤቷ ስላስመረቀች ቤተክርስቲያናችንም እንኳን ደስ አላት፣ እንኳን ደስ አለን። ለቤተክርስቲያናችን ታላቅ ነገር ነው። ቅድም ዘማሪያኑ ሲዘምሩ ባረክናክሙ እምቤተ እግዚአብሔር የሚለውን መዝሙረ ዳዊት መዝሙር 117 ቁጥር 26 ላይ ያለውን ቃል ሲዘምሩት ነበር። ይሄ ቃል በእግዚአብሔር ቤት መረቅናችሁ ይላል። በማን ቤት? ስለዚህ በዓለም የሚመረቁ ብዙዎች ናቸው። ይህን ምርቃት ለየት የሚያደርገው አእምሮ ብሩህ በሚያደርግ አምላክ፣ እውቀት በሚገልጽ አምላክ፣ እቅድ በሚያስፈጽም አምላክ፣ ቤተ መቅደስ ስለተመረቃችሁ እንኳን ደስ አላችሁ። እንኳን ደስ አላችሁ። ትልቁ ደስታ ይሄ ነው። እንኳን ደስ አላችሁ። እዚህ በደረጃ ነው በማስተርስ በዲግሪ ከዚያም በላይ በፒኤችዲ አዛም ወርዶ ደግሞ ታች ወደ ዩኒቨርሲቲ የተዘጋጃችሁ ነው። እናንተ በ3 በ4 ደረጃ የተከፋፈለ ነው። ሁላችሁም እንኳን ደስ አላችሁ። ጥሩ ነው። እናንተ እነሱን እያያችሁ ነገ ደግሞ እናንተ እዚህ ላይ ሲዘምሩ የነበሩት ደግሞ እንደናንተ ሆነው እናያለን ማለት ነው። እና በእግዚአብሔር ቤት ተመርቃችኋል። ጽዮኗ ቅድም ስትል የነበረው አንድ ነገር አለ። ግድ የላችሁም ልጆች፣ እግዚአብሔርን አስቀድሙ። እግዚአብሔርን ካስቀደማችሁ ሩጣችሁ የማትቀድሙበት ተወዳድራችሁ የማታሸንፉበት አንዳችም ጊዜና ደቂቃ የለም። ማንን ማስቀደም አለብን? እግዚአብሔርን። እግዚአብሔርን አስቀድሙ ስንል ደግሞ እጅና እግራችሁን እጥፍጥፍ አድርጋችሁ ጥናት ሳታጠኑ ተቀመጡ ማለት አይደለም። እየሰራችሁ ጠንክራችሁ ኃይሉን ብርታቱን ይዛችሁ የሚገርመው ጽዮኗ በከፍተኛ ማዕረግ ተመርቃ እጅግ በከፍተኛ ማዕረግ ነው የተመረቀችው። በዚህ ተመርቃ ሜዳሊያ ተሸላሚ ስትሆንና ከ19000 ተማሪ መካከል ንግግር እንድታደርግ ስትመረቅ የሚገርምና የሚደንቀው ነገር አንድ ቀን ኪዳን በዘወትር ኪዳን ቀርታ አታውቅም። ቅዳሴ አንድ ቀን ቀርታ አታውቅም። አሁን አንዳንድ ጊዜ እንዴ እኔ እኮ ጊዜ ወደ እግዚአብሔር ቤት ሲመጡ የጥናት ጊዜያቸውን የሚሻማባቸው አይሻማም። በጊዜው ከተጠቀም ሶሻል ሚዲያውን ደግሞ ቀንሰን ለሶሻል ሚዲያ የምንጠቀመውን ለዚህ ካደረግነው እግዚአብሔር ቤት መጣችሁ በማስቀደሳችሁና ኪዳን በማድረሳችሁ ጊዜያችሁ አይሻማባችሁም። እንዲያውም አይምሯችሁን እግዚአብሔር ብሩህ ያደርግላችኋል። እና በጽዮኗ ማየት ችያለሁ። ስለዚህ በእቅድ እንድትሄዱ እግዚአብሔር ይርዳችሁ። ቤተክርስቲያናችን እንግዲህ ጥሩ እያደረገች ነው። በእግዚአብሔር ቤት ተመርቃችኋል። በተለይ ደግሞ ዛሬ ወንድሞቼ ዲያቆናት እነ ዲያቆን አካለወልድ እነ ዲያቆን አማኑ የቤተክርስቲያናችን ወንድሞቻችን ናቸው። እያገለገሉ ቅድም አማኑ ሲናገር እንደሰማነው እየቀደሰ ምንም ዓላማውን አንዳችም ነገር የጎደለበት ነገር የለም። እንደውም ሙሉ ሐሳቡ ተሟልቶለት እዚህ አድርሶታልና እንኳን ደስ ያላችሁ። ቤተክርስቲያናችን በሁለት ሰይፍ ዘክሌ አፉሁ በሁለት በኩል ስለት ያለው ሰይፍ ሲሆን እንደዚህ አይነት ሰው ትፈልጋለች ቤተክርስቲያናችን። በሁለቱም በዚህ በዓለሙም እውቀት በዘመኑም በቤተክርስቲያኑም እና በሁለቱም ሁለት አፍ ሰይፍ ሆናችኋል። ቤተክርስቲያን እንኳን ደስ አላት፣ ምዕመናንም እንኳን ደስ አላችሁ፣ እናንተም እንኳን ደስ አላችሁ። ጥሩ ነው። ነገም ቤተክርስቲያኗ በሁለቱ ዶክተርና ቄስ እዚያም በላይ ኢንጂነርና ዲያቆን የሆነ ትፈልጋለች ቤተክርስቲያኗ። ዘመኑ ጋር አብራ እንድትሄድ ዘመኑ ጋር መግባባት እንቻል። ስለዚህ ሌሎቻችሁም ምን ተከተላችሁ እነ ዲያቆን ብሩክ በዚህ እድሜያቸው ቅድም ሲናገሩት የነበረው የበሰለ አነጋገር የተለየ ምጡቅ አይምሮ እኔ በጣም ተደነቅ ነበር። እንደዚህ ሳይ ቤተክርስቲያን እንኳን ደስ አለሽ እላለሁ። ተስፋ አለን አባቶች፣ እናቶች በእውነቱ እነዚህ ልጆች ነገ እናንተን ተክተው ቤተክርስቲያኗን እኛን ተክተው ቤተክርስቲያኗን ይመራሉ የሚል ተስፋ አለን። በእግዚአብሔር ቤት ስንመረቃችሁ ደስተኛ መሆን አለባችሁ። በማን ቤት? ለምን በእግዚአብሔር ቤት የምንደሰተው በማን ነው? መዝሙረ ዳዊት መዝሙር 94 ቁጥር 1 ላይ ንዑ ንትፈሳ በእግዚአብሔር ኑና በማን ደስ ይበለን? በእግዚአብሔር። የተመረቃችሁት በማን ቤት ነው? ስለዚህ ደስ ያላችሁ በዓለም አይደለም በእግዚአብሔር ነው። እንኳን ደስ አላችሁ በድጋሚ። አዎ በእግዚአብሔር ነው። የሚገርም ነው። ይሄ ደስታ ትልቅ ደስታ ነው። የሉቃስ ወንጌል ምዕራፍ 2 ቁጥር 10 ላይ እንደሚል ቃል አለ። ናሁ ዜናወክሙ አብየ ዜና፣ ታላቅ ደስታ ነግራችኋለሁ ይላል። ታላቅ ደስታ በእግዚአብሔር ቤት ነው። መዝሙረ ዳዊት መዝሙር 120 ተፈሳይኩ እስመ ይቤሉኒ ቤተ እግዚአብሔር፣ ወደ እግዚአብሔር ቤት እንሂድ ባሉኝ ጊዜ ደስ አለኝ። ይሄ በማን ነው? በእግዚአብሔር።
ይሄ ምን አይነት ነው? ታላቅ ደስታ። ስለዚህ ዛሬ የተደሳችሁ ታላቅ ደስታ ነው። ዛሬ የተደሳችሁ በእግዚአብሔር ቤት ነው። ዛሬ የተመረቃችሁት በእግዚአብሔር ነው። እንኳን ደስ አላችሁ። እንኳን ደስ አላችሁ። እንኳን ደስ አላችሁ። ይሄ ነው ለየት የሚያደርገው እንጂ በዓለም ላይ ብዙ ሚሊዮን ተማሪ ይመረቃል። እናንተ አሁን ለስራችሁ ለስራ የተዘጋጃችሁ ለከፍተኛ ትምህርት የተዘጋጃችሁ ቀጥሉበት። ለስራ የተዘጋጃችሁ ደግሞ ማንን አስቀድሙ? እግዚአብሔር አስቀድሙ። ስራ ስትሰሩ ደግሞ ስራ ይችን መቼም ጆሮአችሁ ከበድ እንዳትላችሁ። ስራ ስትሰሩ ደግሞ አስራታችሁን ቅድም ጽዮና እንዳለችው ደግሞ ስታገኙ ለምሳሌ በአመት 100,000 ብር የምታገኙ ከሆነ አስራታችሁ ስንት ነው? ከበዳቸው አይደል? ለመናገር ራሱ ከበዳቸው። 10,000 የማን ነው ማለት ነው? የእግዚአብሔር ነው። ያ አስራት ሲሰጥበት የሥራ ዘመናችሁ ደስተኛ እየሆናችሁ የምትሰሩት ገንዘቡ በቀዳዳ ኪስ እንደሚቀመጥ እየሾለከ አያልቅም፣ በረከት ይኖረዋል። እና ቤተክርስቲያናችን ትንሽ እዚህ ላይ ከግብጽ ቤተክርስቲያን ጋር ኮምፔር ስናደርገው ትንሽ ይችላል። ምንድነው? የግብጽ ቤተክርስቲያን በሙሉ ምዕመኑ አስራት በኩራቱን ያወጣል። ቤተክርስቲያናቸው ትምህርት ቤት የራሳቸው አላቸው። ሌላም ሐኪም ቤት የራሳቸው አላቸው። በዚህ ምክንያት ቤተክርስቲያን ልመና የሚባል ለተቸገሩ ይረዳሉ። የድኩማን መርጃ አላቸው። የድኩማን መጥዋያ አላቸው። የችግረኞች መርጃ አላቸው። በእኛ እንደ ህዝቡ ብዛት እንደዚያ ብናደርግ ነገ እንደዚያ ማድረግ እንችላለን። ይሄንን ለውጥ የምታመጡት ደግሞ በሁለት በኩል ሁለት ስለት የሆናችሁ እናንተ ትጀምራላችሁ ማለት ነው። ለማንኛውም ሁሉን ያዘጋጀ አምላክ ክብርና ምስጋና ለስሙ ይሁን። ዛሬ ያለው ደስታ የትንሽ ወላጆች ሳይሆን የቤተ ክርስቲያን የሁላችንም ደስታ ነውና ቤተ ክርስቲያን እንኳን ደስ አላት። ክቡር አባታችን እንኳን ደስ አለዎት። በሰውትን ማስተማር የሰውት ወንጌል የሰውት የዘሩትን ዘር ነው። ሲዘሩ ይከብዳል። ገበሬ ሲዘራ በጭቃ ነው የሚዘራው። ጭቃው ላይ እሾህ አለ። ሳያየው እሾሁ ይወገዋል። በኋላ እያለቀሰ ይዘራና በኋላ ሲያጭድ እየሸለለ እየዘመረ እሸቱን እየቃመ ደስ እያለው አዝመራውን ይሰበስባል። ስለዚህ ከዚህ በፊት ልጆቹን እዚህ ማድረስ አድካሚ ነው። ዛሬ ግን በደስታ የተዘራው ዘር ለዚህ ፍሬ አብቅቷል። እግዚአብሔር ስሙ የተመሰገነ ይሁን። ስለነበረን ጊዜ ክብርና ምስጋና ለስሙ ይሁን። ሁልጊዜ በእግዚአብሔር ቤት እንድንመራረቅ እግዚአብሔር ይርዳን። ወስብሐት ለእግዚአብሔር።
እናመሰግናለን አባታችን
ስላገዙ፣ በተለይ ደግሞ የሰበካ ጉባኤው እና ቮለንተር ያደረጉትን በጣም እናመሰግናቸዋለን። በጣም እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልን ማለት ይፈልጋለሁ። ተመራቂዎቹ እንደ ኮሚኒቲያችን እንደምታውቁት ይሄ ቤተክርስቲያን የዛሬ 20-30 ዓመት የተወሰኑ አባቶች እናቶች ነው እዚህ ተቋቁሞ እዚህ የደረሰው። አሁንም እንደምታዩት አብዛኛውን ስራዎች እየሰሩ ያሉት እነዚህ አባቶች ናቸው እና እባካችሁ ወጣቶች፣ እባካችሁ ትውልድ አባቶቻችንን እናቶቻችንን ለማሳረፍ ለማገዝ ፈቃደኞች እንሁን። ቤተክርስቲያን እንጥፋ፣ ቤተክርስቲያን እናገልግል። ኮሚኒቲያችንን እነሷም ቅድም ተናግረዋል። ስለ ሬዚደንስ ታውራ ሬዚደንስ ፎከስ የሚያደርገው ግን ብዙ የቋንቋ በረሃው ነገሮች አቋርጠው በቋንቋ ብሔራዊ ማንሳዳቸው በፍሬንች በእንግሊዝኛ ዛሬ ኢንጂነር ዶክተር የሚባሉ ልጆችን እንዲደርሱ እግዚአብሔር ረድቷቸው እዚህ አድርሶናል። እኛ ደግሞ እዚህ በተለይ ሃይስኩል ያላችሁ እንደዚህ ኮሌጅ ያላችሁ በየትኛው ማህበረሰብ ተመልክታችሁ ብታዩ በቻይና በግብፅ በህንድ የትኛው የምትመለከቱ ተመልሰው ማህበረሰቦቻቸው አጋዦች ናቸውና ዛሬ የተመረቅነው የተመረቃችሁ በተለይ ወደ ማህበረሰባችን ተመልሰን ለማገዝ በብዙ መንገድ ሃይማኖታዊ በማህበራዊ ጉዳዮች ተከትለንና እሱ በማድረግ እግዚአብሔር ያግዘን ይርዳ። ቤተሰቦቻችንን እዚህ ያላችሁ የታደማችሁ ግን ይህ ፕሮግራም በተለይ ደግሞ ካቁናታችሁ ገንዘባችሁ መስዋዕት አድርጋችሁ ደግሞ ይህን ፕሮግራም ላዘጋጃችሁልን እግዚአብሔር ይክፈላችሁ። እግዚአብሔር በረከቱን ይሙላላችሁ። ሁላችሁንም በጣም እናመሰግናለን። አመሰግናለሁ።
We'll now be passing it to Matthias.
Hello everyone. So I want to keep it quite brief. Everyone's kind of said same sentiment as I did. A lot of perseverance, especially during COVID and a lot of different things that happened, but all of us got here. What I want to thank first and foremost is God. He was able to show me a path so I'm able to stand here in front of you today. I also want to thank my relatives, my cousin right here, my aunt Muddish, I don't know where you are, but Pekka, yeah, she's somewhere here working hard. My uncles, Gurma and Makonnen, always very helpful. And the main reason is for my family, my sister right here, my dad, who's always taught me how to work hard, always showed me what dedication would take. He worked very hard for me, as you saw in those videos. Those programs, those sports were not easy, they weren't cheap, and he did a lot for me. And finally, my rock, my rock, the woman that always showed me that I can do anything, the woman that showed me that I am able to be whatever I can be, and hence why I'm here today, to my mom. But no, thank you everyone for coming out here today. I really appreciate it, and that's it.
በስመ አብ ወወልድ ወመንፈስ ቅዱስ አሐዱ አምላክ አሜን። አባቶቻችን ካህናት፣ ወንድሞቻችን ዲያቆናት፣ አባቶች፣ እናቶች ሁላችሁም እዚህ የተገኛችሁ እንደምን ዋላችሁ? አሜን። በቸርነቱ ጠብቆ ሕይወታችንን ሁሉ ባርኮ ለዚህ ሰዓት ያደረሰን አምላካችን ስሙ የተመሰገነ ይሁን። ወንድሞቼ እህቶቼ ብዙ ነገር ብለውታል። እግዚአብሔርን እንድታመሰግኑልን ተገኝታችኋል። ያለፍንበትን መንገድ ደግሞ በጥቂቱም ቢሆን ሰምታችኋል። ብዙዎቻችሁ ደግሞ በዚህ ህይወት ውስጥም ከኛ ጋርም ስለነበራችሁ በደንብ ነው በጥልቀት የምትረዱት። ለዚህ ሁሉ እግዚአብሔር የተመሰገነ ይሁን። በግሌ ብዙ የሚለው ነገር የለኝም። እዚህ የተሰበሰብንና እዚህ ከተማ ላይ ወይም እዚህ ሀገር ላይ ብቻ ያለን ሰዎች አይደሉም እዚህ ያደረሱን። ከሩቅ ከጠረፍ ከገጠር ከጨለማ ህይወት ውስጥ ሆኖ ራሳቸውን ብዙ ዋጋ ከፍሎ እዚህ ያደረሱን ስማቸውን ለመጥቀስ የሚያዳግት ብዙ እናቶች፣ አባቶች፣ ወገኖች አሉን። ኃይል የሚሆኑን መንገዳችንን የሚያቀኑልን ያሳዩን ፍቅርና ያስተማሩን ትምህርት ነው በጎነት፣ ደግነታቸው። እነሱን በአጠቃላይ ከሁሉም አቅጣጫ ከሁሉም ሀገራችን ጫፍ እስከ ጫፍ ወላጆቻችን፣ የሀገራችን ዜጎች በሙሉ ክብር ይገባቸዋል። እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልን። በሕይወት የሌሉ ይህንንም ማዩ የማይሰሙ በስራቸው የሚመሰገኑ እግዚአብሔር አምላክ ነፍሳቸውን በገነት ያኖርልን፣ እረፍትን ይስጥልን። እዚህ ያለነው እና አንድ መልእክት ማስተላለፍ የምፈልገው ሌላውን ብዙ ነገር ተምረናልና ወላጆቻችን ለቀጣይ ትውልድ እኔ ምልክት የሆኑ እንዲህ አይነት መርሃ ግብሮችን ባየሁ ቁጥር ልቦናዬ ይረበሽ ነበር። ሕፃን ሆኜ፣ ልጅ ሆኜ፣ ወጣት ሆኜ ማንም በእውቀት እዚህ ትደርሳለህ፣ በዚህ መንገድ ሂድ፣ ይሄ ያዋጣሃል ብሎ ያስተማረኝ አልነበረም። ወላጆቼ በትምህርት ብዙ የገፉ አልነበሩም ከአባቴ በስተቀር። እኔን የመሰሉ ይህንን አይነት መርሃ ግብር በማየት ብቻ በመነሳሳት ትልልቅ ቦታ የደረሱ አሉና እዚህ ያሉት ልጆቻችን ብዙ ለብቻ ከምንደክም እንዲህ አይነት መርሃ ግብር ላይ መገኘት በራሱ ብዙ ምዕራፍን ያስነብባቸዋል። በማየት ነው የሚማሩት የሚረዱትና ቅድም ስናገሩት ወንድሞቼና እህቶቼ የራሳቸውን ጥረት ነው። የወላጆቻችን ጥረት ምን እንደገጠማቸው ብንሰማ ደግሞ ልጆቻችን ቁጭ ብሎ ቢሰሙ ደግሞ ምን አይነት ታምር ይፈጠር ይሆን ብዬ ሳስብ ነበር። ወላጆቻችን እንዴት አሳልፈው ነው እዚህ ያደረሱን? እዚህ ቦታ እንድንቆም ያደረጉን ምን ዋጋ ከፍሎ ይሆን? ይህንን መርሃ ግብር ተዘጋጅቶ ልክ አሁን ለምርቃት እንደሚዘጋጅ ወላጆች አንድም ሁለትም ሆኖ የህይወት ልምዳቸውን ያለፉበትን ለልጆቻቸው ቢነግሩ በማህበር እንደዚህ በግል ከምናገሩ ትልቅ ዋጋ ይኖረዋል ብዬ አስባለሁና ቅድስት ቤተ ክርስቲያናችን እድሉ ካለ ይህንን ብናስብበትና ብንሰራ ጥሩ ነው ብዬ አስባለሁ። ስለዚህ እኔ ይህንን እድል በማግኘቴ በዚህ መድረክ በመታደሜ እግዚአብሔር የተመሰገነ ይሁን፣ እድሜ ይስጥልን። ያሰብኩት ብዙ ሌላኛው መንገድ ነበር። እግዚአብሔር ባሰበ እግዚአብሔር በወደደ ግን መልካምን አደረገልኝ። ይህንን መድረክ አዘጋጅታችሁ በጉልበት፣ በገንዘብ፣ በሀሳብ እንዳከበራችሁን እግዚአብሔር አምላክ ዋጋችሁን ይክፈልልን፣ እድሜ ይስጥልን፣ እግዚአብሔር ይስጥልን።
This marks the end of our speeches, and we will now be moving on to a heartwarming slideshow prepared to showcase this year's graduates, along with those who graduated during the pandemic. So please take a moment to enjoy it.